These days, we spend a lot of time experiencing brands online, be it through social media ads, video content, and app experiences. While you can test a limitless amount of concepts online, convincing consumers to pick your product over another nearly identical one out in the wild can come down to something as seemingly minimal as the color of a logo. And that's the big challenge for soda brands. People often make their decision about what to drink at a glance, be it in the supermarket aisle, over the counter, or even at the drive-thru. And rightly or wrongly, people feel more comfortable putting certain brands into their bodies than others. Yet many of the most familiar soda brands have recently refreshed their logos. Some subtly, some dramatically. So which brands have changed their looks, and why? Well, let's find out. These are the top 4 soda logo redesigns. Number 4, Fanta. In 2023, Fanta introduced a new logo to give it a unified global identity based on fun. While it's always been one of the more playful brands in the Coca-Cola stable, it needed some TLC, according to Vice President of Design, Rafa Abreu. They told D-Zine the identity was too contained, didn't portray playfulness, and was targeted towards too young of an audience. Instead, they wanted to shift the branding towards anyone who was playful at heart. The new design, done by Jones Knowles Ritchie, simplifies the previous logo by removing the drop shadows and textures. The lettering has been tidied up with more consistent spacing and slight lengthenings of the legs of the A and the T to match the extended strokes of the N. The wedge or smile in the final A has been removed and replaced by a more generic triangle. The shade of blue used for the shadow has been lightened and now ends in a point. And the leaf above the N and the orange behind the word mark are also gone. 2 elements that have been mostly present since the 1980s. This will allow the same logo to be used on all flavours of Fanta without causing confusion. This is a global rebrand that will be rolled out in every market, bringing some countries that were using different variations of the logo into line. What's interesting about this new logo is that it's a redesign of a rebrand that I didn't actually realize happened. Fanta's 2016 and 2017 versions of the logo went completely unnoticed by my eyes when I came across them at supermarkets or at restaurants. I think in my mind the 2010 logo was still in use. But the 2023 rebrand caught my eye, although I had to do a bit of a double take to try and figure out what had actually changed. If it wasn't for the colours changing and the leaf and the orange being removed, I don't know that I actually would have noticed. It serves as a good reminder of how most people experience logos. First they see colour, then they see shape, and then they see content. Like many of the logos we'll look at today, the new logo serves as the centerpiece of a new design system. It provides a visual template that creates a hierarchy of information and uses scale and color to communicate each variant of the product. It means the design team at Coke aren't reinventing the wheel every time they introduce a new variant of Fanta, providing a fun-looking solution to a functional problem. Number 3, 7-Up. In its first rebrand in, fittingly, 7 years, 7-Up revealed a new logo and packaging in 2023. The PepsiCo brand wanted to revitalize its design approach, following the idea of being uplifting. Okay, don't blame me, I'm just following the tone of the press release. The 7 now tilts up in a 3D extrusion effect. The sides of the 7 are neon and darker shades of green. It all creates a citrusy effect. The red dot is more vivid and really pops on each shade of green. The up type has also been reduced in size, providing a bit of breathing room within the circle, and making it easier to read. It's all completed, on the can at least, with some lemon and lime wedges falling along the side. It's a really successful refresh for the brand, making it more appealing and scalable in the digital world, but also in the physical world. The packaging really jumps out at you in these designs. And in an era of ever-expanding flavours and sugar-free options from competitors, it'll set 7-Up apart. Number 2. Sprite. In 2022, Sprite unveiled a refreshing new identity. Completed by Turner Duckworth in collaboration with Coca-Cola's in-house design team, Sprite's new logo is fresh, bold, while still familiar to most. But it's more than just a logo redesign. It's an introduction to a new design system. With a sugar-free version of Sprite now on the market, they wanted to create some design conventions that would make it easy to know which version you were buying. And with a new clear version of the bottle that's easy to recycle on the way, the logo and the label were going to need to be bold enough to pop on their own. The spark element has been separated from the word mark and is now used on the top of the bottle or packaging or as a signpost. The brand's green is more vibrant and just the right shade to work with white or black copy. Although it no longer lives in the spark, the iconic shape lives on in the word mark with a curve added along the top of the I and the T. This also creates a liquid-like effect, helping to visually communicate what the product is. And it uses a new font. It's an inky, squishy kind of font that feels retro and nostalgic, but when paired with the rest of the design system, it feels futuristic and clean. And I think that's the most impressive part of this brand refresh. While it's heralded in a new system and a more modern, clean look, it doesn't feel harsh or oppressive. The font used in the logo and the copy has weight, flow, and flexibility. It has character. And although the colour palette is limited, it doesn't feel sparse or cold. The energy of the green feels crystal clear, yet not sharp. It's a nice balance of functionality and fun. Number 1. Pepsi. In 2023, to celebrate its upcoming 125th anniversary, Pepsi unveiled a new logo. A collaboration between its in-house design team and the Mrs. and Mr. agency, it's the first time in 15 years the brand has significantly changed its logo. Although it is a riff on a design structure that they used until 1997. It's a significant change from the previous logo introduced in 2008. One that's been widely ripped apart by the design and branding worlds because of this supposedly real document, which used emotions and gravitational pull to justify the form the Pepsi globe took. The new logo returns the red and blue to their familiar wave design. The Pepsi word mark is now in all caps with an updated and quite bold type, and it's all contained within the circle between the waves. The colour palette has been updated to feel more electric, and the introduction of black and darker shades of blue to the branding allow for the red, white, blue and black logo to really pop. It creates the complete opposite effect to the 2008 branding. Instead of rounded and soft, this new branding is bold and harsh. The contrasting colours, the sharp edges of the I, and the slanted strokes of the P's and the S. It all helps return Pepsi to its roots as a challenger brand. And it's also capable of being retro and nostalgic in some cases, and crisp and futuristic in others. It kind of reminds me of the Burger King rebrand from 2021. Revisiting a design concept from the past in a logo that's all contained in what could basically be a sticker. Yet it's ready for the future and in and of itself gives you a sense of the feeling you'll get when consuming the product, from soft and delicious to fizzy and refreshing. That's what you're aiming for when you're branding a food or a beverage, and that's what I think Pepsi's achieved. These soda brands are some of the biggest and most dominant in the world. Some of them have been around for more than 100 years, and some of them pretty close to it. They're not going anywhere, and you could assume that most people by now are aware of which brand works for them. Yet periodically, each of these brands looks for ways to refresh their identities and redefine who they are, not just to consumers, but to themselves. Logos are the crystallization of this work, and just by looking at Pepsi's logo alone, you can see how losing sight of exactly who you are can affect the work you put out, if not necessarily your sales. These soda logo redesigns are masterclasses in encapsulating the true essence of a product into a design and putting it on the tin.